Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, bonjour, ça va, hola, and any other language you want to speak. Firstly, I want to apologise because that wee bonus, the wee short episode I put out the other day, turned out my mic never connected properly and it was using my laptop mic, so I don't think the sound quality was that great, and I apologise in advance. Well, not in advance, apologise later. But we all know I'm not a tech genius, so my bad. I'm sorry. Hopefully it'll never happen again. I mean, I don't know how good the sound quality was for yous. I maybe have a wee listen to the episode on Amazon or something myself and see. If it wasn't for bad luck, I would have no luck at this in this precise moment in time but it's alright, we're going to turn it round. We're doing the vision board this week and we're don't turn around, I want to see your heart breaking. That's our own words, I think. But anyway, how are we? This is the extra episode I said I was going to put out because we disappeared for a few, but we never disappeared. There was a lot going on, which if you listen to the last episode, you'll know. So this is the extra one between that one and the one that's coming this Wednesday. And then there should be every Wednesday after that, as long as nobody wants to be dramatic and fake dying and all that malarkey, you know. I'm trying to think what else. I had something else to tell you. I just don't know at this point. But I hope you're all doing well. Who's got sun? The sun is shining. The weather is sweet, yeah. I have blue skies, which is the first time for ages. Also, that's what I was going to say. I told you I was going to maybe try and put this out Friday or Saturday. It's now Sunday. I've had man flu since, I don't even know, Wednesday or Thursday. I couldn't breathe on Friday. The voice hasn't been great. It's alright the day, but the throat's really sore. We're sweating, but we don't know if that's menopausal sweat or like menopausal hot flushes, or whether it's the man flu sweating out of me. TMI? Soz. Also, I've not been sleeping very well. Here we go. This isn't a therapy session for me. I'm just catching you up on my life. Is anybody else struggling to sleep just now? I swear to God, everybody I'm talking to just now is like not able to sleep. So I don't know if there's something in the air, something to do with the moon, something to do with the something, but there's something going on, and it's affecting my sleep, and it's affecting it that much. I must have been, I don't know, tensed in my sleep or something, and my left shoulder blade, like the muscle run about there, has been twisted or pulled or something, but it's sore. So if you are one of the big butch masseuses, if you're a big butch masseuse who would like to get your, what do you call that, your wrist right in about that, or your fist right in about that muscle, and you're near Glasgow, let me know, because I need a good massage. And I did mean a massage before any of you dirty minded people want to be taking your minds elsewhere. Anyway, I've been seeing a lot on social media this week. This is more to do with people that are potentially in England. You have all been getting your letters in saying what school your kids are going to this year. The ones that are just starting. I remember the day that my boys started primary school, so they would have been 5. See, when you think back to them being that tiny and innocent, and well, second child syndrome, don't know if that one was innocent. He definitely wasn't innocent. The firstborn was very innocent. Second, not so much. He 100% had second child syndrome. We've came out the other end of that, but very much so when he was a child, he had second child syndrome. As in, he made up for what the first one never done. He was like 5 children in the one. He was hard work. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. So it's emotional, isn't it, when you start registering them for nursery and schools and everything else. And some people obviously need to put their kids into childcare, nursery, whatever, a lot earlier than others, because maybe the mums are going back to work and there's no family members to help look after through the day. or maybe it is just when they come of age to get to like 3, 4, whatever age it is in your country, that they start nursery. It is an emotional time because it's a new transition, isn't it? It's something new, something that you're not used to. You're used to this wee tiny tot depending solely on you or family members, and now you're basically handing them over to a stranger and saying, help grow my child's mind, help my child flourish in a way that we maybe aren't equipped to do. And I don't know about you, but I don't find it very easy to trust people with my children, because my children are my pride and joy, my children are my everything, and my children are, no, sorry, but you look at my child the wrong way and Mama Bear definitely comes out. And I think it's a lot of that's to do with my childhood, potentially, things that I've seen through life and other people's lives, things you see on the news. And I do think a lot it's down to the fact that they only had me as a parent, but also they were stuck to my hip. They were literally stuck to my hip from birth. Well, actually from conception, you might as well say. My oldest, he would literally sit outside the toilet door waiting for you. And if he wasn't outside the toilet door, he was inside the toilet with you. When I was going to work, my mum would have to take him up the stair and I'd have to sneak out the back door, or they'd be in the kitchen, I'd go out the front door, or they'd be in the living room, I'd go out the back door. Do you know one of the ones? The youngest did not let me out of sight at all, to the point where he didn't even sleep during the day to make sure I never went anywhere. Do you know? So it is hard. It is hard when you've got these wee people that you've grew, whether it be you're the mum or the dad, or two dads, two mums, whatever it may be. But this person, this tiny, tiny human who at the minute can't defend herself, has depended on you for everything for so long, and now you're handing them over to somebody else to help, I suppose, mould their brain, mould them into the best version of themselves, hopefully, potentially. So it's hard. And you see a lot of them crying and everything else, and I don't show emotion an awful lot, especially not to people that aren't in my inner circle, and I've got a tiny, tiny circle. So I remember when they would maybe be going away, because in Scotland and maybe England, I don't know about anywhere else, when they get to about 11, I think it's 11, they go away for a few days with the school, and it's like 3 or 4 days away, and they're overnights and everything else. People would say, oh, you're going to miss them, because they knew that only ever were with me. And I'm like, no, I'm glad of the break. But you weren't glad of the break. You just said that because that's what you say, isn't it? But in actual fact, the whole time they're away, you're counting down the minutes and the hours and whatever else for them to come back. And I remember when my oldest went on his trip, and my youngest was only, what age would they have been? About 2 maybe, I don't even know, I can't count at this minute. Anyway, he was only a tiny tot, and he didn't understand why his big brother wasn't there. Where was he? He seen him going on a bus and then never ever seen him coming back for days. And God love him, he'd go into the bed every morning and he'd be like, where is, and whatever, and because I don't say my children's names online, and he'd be like, where is my big brother? Obviously he said his name, and I was like, oh, he'll be back to be with his friends. And then he just absolutely missed them so much. And then when the youngest went away, I thought the older one would be glad of the peace and quiet, because he was at that teenage stage at that point, and your wee brothers can be annoying, can't they? But not. He was, when's he coming? Is he alright? Have you phoned to make sure he's alright? Obviously, when being autistic and everything else, he was worried more. And he's like, I don't think you should let him go. He was worse than me. I was like, excuse me, I'm having some respite here. But yeah, it's funny because you can't figure out how they're going to react in these situations. But going back to everybody getting their letters to say what schools, if you've not got the school that was your preferred choice, now I don't know about how it works in your area, but in mine, I didn't get my preferred choice initially for my youngest. we had to put in placing requests. So what we do here in Scotland is, or at least in Glasgow, we just automatically apply for the school that's in our catchment area. You don't put in 3 choices or whatever it is you do in England. We only apply for the school that's in our catchment area, and you would automatically get in as long as there's enough spaces. But I didn't want my youngest going. Well, my oldest, he did go to that one and that was fine. That's a whole other story, we'll tell you that in a minute. But my youngest, because of my oldest experience in that school, I didn't want my youngest going to that one. And I made sure the head teacher knew my son was not going to that school. Because what actually happened was my oldest had been really badly bullied for years, to the point where I was at school every day fighting with the head teacher. So we moved him schools when he was in primary 3, so he would have been like 7. And then he flourished a lot more once they left that school, which makes you think, maybe should I have left him, take him out sooner? Don't know, but you can't turn back time. So when it came to the youngest one coming, and because it was the same head teacher that was there, I was taking no chances. So when we had to go up to apply, and she was like, "Oh, I can't wait for you starting this school," and I said, "Oh, no, don't you be kidding yourself." I said, "My son will never come to school while you're running it." I said, "We've had enough experiences with you, and even if I need to homeschool my son, that's what I'll do to ensure that you never get anywhere near any of my children again. You'll never ever make another one of my children feel the way you made my oldest child feel." So yeah, then it was a long fight because I had to put a placing request in for multiple schools, and then we didn't get any of the places because all the places were essentially full. So then you have to appeal, but you can only appeal for one of the schools. So then we appealed for one school, and the day before my appeal hearing, we got a phone call to say he got in because somebody else had pulled out. So that was good. And it was a big weight off my mind as well. A really big weight off my mind because, which in actual fact, and it's quite funny because then 6 years down the line, sorry I get interrupted, because as you know I record all episodes at home, or mainly all episodes at home. So yeah, 6 years down the line, we ended up changing schools because his school ended up too overwhelming for him, and he went to the initial school that he was supposed to go to, but it was a different head teacher, and that was the only reason I allowed him to go, or it would have been a different school again. But yeah, it's swings and roundabouts with schools, and you just need to fight for answers or fight for what you think's best for your child, because you know your child better than anybody else, and hopefully you get the outcome that you desire. And if you don't, there's always another step you can take. Obviously there's a final step along the line somewhere, but just take it as high as you can because if you want to get the best for your child and out your child, you need strength, don't you? You need to be able to ensure they're getting the best input to get the best output from them. But yeah, I just need to shut my door because it's squeaking 2 seconds. The window's opened, which is making the doors swing about. So we need some WD-40 on that. But yeah, if you're not getting the exact placement that you're looking for, and you think the placement that you've been offered isn't adequate enough for your child, just fight as much as you can, because there will be other people that are looking for a placement, maybe another school, like what happened to us, and then eventually you might get their place if they finally get the place that they were. And it's like that domino effect. One person will pull out one will pull out another, and then you all end up getting each other's placements. So that's that. But once they get to the school, you also need to make sure the teachers and the staff and everybody else know the exact needs that your child requires. Some can just go with the flow and easy ozy and just cope with anything that life throws at them, but there'll be others that need a bit more TLC. They need a bit more nourishment. They might need you to be a bit softer spoken. They might need you to speak a bit louder because they're maybe hard of hearing. It may be that they need things worded a certain way for them. Maybe you know that your child might need time out or some quiet time throughout the day, especially if you've got a child that's got ADHD or autism or anything like that. Also remember not to, we're told so many times once they're born, don't compare your child to a sibling or another child, etc., another child in the family, any other child you know, about the milestones they're hitting. That doesn't stop at babies, that's throughout life, so that's also going to carry on into when they start school. Because you'll see some kids will start school and they can already maybe read, they might be able to write, maybe your child's not there yet, that's absolutely fine, don't worry about that, because they'll catch up, they might even exceed your expectations. None of us know what the future holds for ourselves, let alone for anybody else. You can prepare your child for going to school. Just sit them down. You don't need to sit them down and say, like military style, this is what's going to happen, X, Y, Z. But you can sit them down and just have a wee chat, ask them what they think school's going to be like and what they're most looking forward to and all these different things. And remember that if your child's nursery is attached onto a school, they'll have seen a school throughout anyway. When you know what school they're going to be going to or potentially going to, you'll potentially get open days where they go, they meet the teacher, they meet their friends that are going to be in their class and all these different things. So it's not so scary as in they've never seen the place before. And that might have been the case when they were starting nursery, but that's not necessarily going to be the case when they start school. I think we put more pressure on ourselves than anything else, and we worry more than we need to sometimes. And I get it because our children are so precious to us. And like I said before, we're the ones that need to fight for them all the way through because they can't fight for themselves, can they? Let's face it, if they tried to answer back to a teacher, they would just get into trouble. Whereas mama, papa, gran, nana, anybody, any adult goes up there to fight with that teacher is not answering you back, which I will not say too much about that. Sometimes children should be allowed to speak their mind, just as long as they're not being rude about it. Saying that, my youngest, he would definitely speak and still does to this day, will tell you. If he does not agree with you, he will let you know. That's the fun, the joys of autism. We'll just leave that there. If you've got an autistic child and somebody in your family with autism, you'll understand that one. But yeah, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't put too much pressure on the child. And let's see what the next chapter does for them. It could be absolutely amazing. They could fly high. And if you start at school and it's not working for them, maybe they are being bullied. But listen, we know there's going to be bullying at every school. We just don't know what child is going to be the target, be the victim, be the whatever. And it's heartbreaking to think. I wish schools did do better when it comes to bullying. Unfortunately, still in 2026, they don't do enough, in my opinion, and I'm sure in many other parents' opinions. But you can look into changing schools, as we did with both my children, for different reasons. And you may have a different reason as to why you might want your child to move school. Friendships can come and go. We need to prepare them for that as well. And listen, if your child's at the other end of the other end of the scale where they are now leaving school to go to college or university or start work or whatever they may be doing, then I would advise you preparing them for the fact that they might not take all friends into adulthood with them that they've currently got. That was one thing that I spoke to my boys about, that the friends that you've got just now may not be the friends that you've got in 5-10 years time. It just depends because everybody's life's going to change in different ways. It could be that you all find different friends when you go in different directions. It might be somebody moves far away and you lose contact, but you maybe still contact through the phone or online or whatever it may be. But yeah, let's prepare them for every aspect in life. That would be my biggest point that I would say to you. Prepare them for everything that life's going to potentially throw at them. But being a parent is stressful. And it doesn't stop when they become adults. In fact, in some ways it gets worse, because then when they start going to nightclubs and things like that, that's a whole other worry. That is something else, because you know yourself what some nightclubs can be like because you've potentially been to them or you've heard about them. You know what pubs can be like, and we hear so many stories in the news. I hate my children going into the city centre, whether it be through the day or at night, because it is not a safe place to be. We hear so many stories all the time, and you know, it's not about where we're from, because I know Glasgow gets a bad reputation for being this thuggish city and whatever else, and it's not like that. It's just unfortunate everywhere, regardless of where you live, regardless of where you're going, there's always going to be somebody to ruin it for everybody else. And that's just the unfortunate thing about it. But yeah, I don't particularly like them going into the city centre, regardless of whether it's got alcohol involved or not, whether it's daylight or night time. I absolutely hate it. And if I could go and spy on them, do you know, like that some of the programmes you get on the telly where the kids go on holiday for the first time and the parents are spying on them? That would be me. If I could, that would be me, because nope, nobody, not a single soul on this planet is going to hurt my child if I've got it to do it. I'm terrible, and I'm going to be like the gangster granny. That'll be me when I start having grandkids. I'll be like the granny up at the playground. Like, you don't look at my child or my grandchildren. You do not speak to them in the wrong way. You do not. If you want to be friends with my child or my grandchild, this is the list of requirements from you. And yes, it's very hard. It's very hard when you know how horrible people can be and you've experienced it in life. I think it just hits different when you've got kids and you know what the world can be like. I think if you've sailed through life and you've never really struggled with anything, sometimes you can have rose-tinted glasses on, because you maybe don't think it's as bad as what it will be. But let me tell you, it can carry through into your whole life. And it can affect your whole life. Not everybody will live with trauma. Some people will. It's how you deal with it. I tend to make jokes about a lot of my trauma. More so to people that don't know me. But then when I've got friends who fully understand my trauma, then the jokes get darker. Let's just say that. I'm currently writing a book that involves some traumas. That's been hard. That has been harder than I thought it was going to be. But listen, if you can equip your child to come to you and speak to you and trust you enough, if anything is going wrong in their life, then that's all you can ask for. You can't ask for anything else, because then you can be equipped with information to go and deal with it and hopefully get it all resolved quickly before it escalates into anything more serious. But yeah, let's hope they all get the placement you want, and if they don't, let's hope the school that they do go to is much better than what you thought it was going to be. I do believe everything in life happens for a reason, and whether it's for us to experience something or to let us see that something's better than what they thought it was going to be, or that we're stronger than what we thought we were going to be, there's always a reason, and we'll find out that reason eventually. But just let the kids go and enjoy it. They don't need to see any worries or concerns that we've got. We don't need to put that pressure on them. Let them go be them. Let them go and live their best life, grow into these amazing adults that we know they can be and will be. And at some point, they're going to be in your shoes potentially if they start having children in the future when they become adults. And then you'll be able to say, this is what I told you about. It's great because you can say, do you know where you came from? See, when the one that my boys hate is, and I do this all the time with them, but bearing in mind, we've all got a very dark sense of humour in my house, right? So if I'm walking about and I've only got like a wee pair of shorts on and a t-shirt or whatever else, my oldest is the worst for it, but like, can you not put a pair of trousers on? But nothing's shown. I'm literally covered. I've got a pair of cycling shorts or whatever on. And he'll say to me, and then I'll just annoy him and I'll say, do you know you came out my vagina? And he'll be like, oh, why do you need to do that? So sometimes you just need to teach them a wee lesson. And my lesson is always when I say to them, do you know you came out my vagina? I only have to say that one and they walk away from me, and that's me. I've got peace and quiet for at least an hour. It's great. Listen, see, especially if it's boys, I don't think that would work as well with girls. Girls will be like, and what's your point? What is your point? But boys don't want to hear that. Boys do not want to hear that. The other one is, do you know how much pain I went through to get you here? It's good when you can throw these ones back at them. I'd say don't do it when they're like 3, 4 or 5. Maybe wait till they're 15 and upwards, maybe. I don't think I had to say it to mine as early as that, to be fair. But I do quite, I get a wee bit of satisfaction out of annoying them by saying that. Because they just roll their eyes at me and go, oh, that's her, she's gone, she's off, she's on one, she's got to start. She's just going to really annoy us now. And are any actually up for this fight? It's great. Listen, it's all fun and laughter. My boys don't take it and I say too seriously, because they do say I don't think my boys think I take anything serious in life, to be fair. I don't think they've ever seen me be too serious. Well, maybe sometimes, because I'll be like, oh no, she's went from 0 to 100 in 0.1 seconds. But yeah, I just wanted to come on, do this wee episode, because I did see a lot on Instagram and that this week about everybody getting letters in about schools, and some worrying about it and some not. Maybe they were happy, but then they were also sad because their babies are grown, aren't they? That's sad. Once they start school, you blink an eye and they've left school and they're going out into the big bad world of work or university or college or whatever else, and then you look back and you're like, but they were only teeny tiny 5 minutes ago. I mean, my oldest is 27 this year. That's terrible, isn't it? 27 this year. I was going to say 26. And I still remember the day I found out I was pregnant. I still remember when he was conceived, to be fair, but I still remember the day I found out he was pregnant. I still remember the day I went into the hospital to have him. I still remember the day I came out of hospital and getting into trouble with the midwife because I wasn't meant to come out of hospital that day. I just remember everything. And the same with my youngest. I remember the day I found out I was pregnant with him. I remember the day I went into hospital to have him, and the day I came out with him. And again, I get into trouble, and the midwives were just sick of listening to me, and they were like, just go, can you just pack your bags and leave us in peace? To the point where I would probably have been barred for the hospital if I ever fell pregnant again. They're probably like, no, we're not dealing with her again. I just don't like staying in hospitals. I like being home. I'm a home bird. So yes, there's some memories you'll never ever forget, and they'll be locked away forever. Nobody else can see that memory but you, and that's very special. Other memories are photographic. You can see them in the photo, you can see it in a video. You should maybe share the memory. With somebody else, whether it be a partner or whether it be family members or whatever. But I'll cherish all my memories to do with my kids forever, as we all should. And I'll forever be their protector, as will you be. And I'm sure you are all amazing parents, and you all do your best, but just don't put too much pressure on yourself, please. And if anybody does need an ear, or to vent, or to ask a question to do with schools and things like that, send a message in if you want. Bear in mind, if I don't know the answer because I'm living in a different area from you, I will try my best to get an answer for you. I always do try and get an answer for you at some point. It may take me a little longer than normal. It'll just depend how hard or how easy it is to get that answer for you. I'm sorry that you're hearing my phone in the background. I forgot to put it on mute. And then that's that, I think. But if anybody does want to book in for any counselling or coaching, whether it be life coaching, wellness coaching, business coaching, if you would like to book a package of a combination of each, for anybody, whether it be for you or a family member or all of you, partner, we can offer that. All you have to do is email therebootsanctuary.com. Nope, that's the website, therebootsanctuary@gmail.com. If you would like to come on the podcast as a guest or would like me to tell your story for you fully confidentially, you can email the podcast at rebootyourthoughts@gmail.com. If you would like to advertise or sponsor the podcast, there is still spaces available, and again, all you have to do is email in rebootyourthoughtspodcast@gmail.com. Sorry, I'm getting confused because people are not taking the hint with my phone. And then we've got social media. If you'd like to jump on any of the social media pages, whether it just be to give us a follow or if you would like to send a message in there, again, you've got the podcast pages are on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, which is just Reboot Your Thoughts Podcast, and the therapy pages, again, the same, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and it's the Reboot Sanctuary. If you're interested in business coaching, we're going to be rebooting the business coaching podcast. That will probably come out maybe next month. I don't think it'll be this month. And that's Reboot Your Business Podcast, and again, Facebook, TikTok and Instagram. And I think that's all I'm going to say to you today. Wednesday we'll be back to full episodes, 7 p.m. every Wednesday. And if you've got any ideas of a topic you would like me to speak about, it doesn't need to be about mental health, but it does need to be about life in general, then send me in a message and let me know, and I'll do my best to work through any suggestions you've all got. But for now, take care of yourselves. Don't put too much pressure on yourself if you're a parent or if you're looking after any young people, and remember to take time for yourself. But for now, I'm going to go, and I will speak to you all later. Bye.